Santa's Little Helper, starring, again, do you want to guess, Lucas? Fucking nobody, and who gives a shit? Oh wait, sorry, no, The Miz. Sorry, that's The Miz. So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends, a series where I, your host this week, Karl Smallwood, am joined, as ever, by the lovely and luscious Lucas Holland.
Hello there.
And today, Lucas, the video is very special, because the topic has been decided upon by our fans over on Patreon. And earlier this month, over on our Patreon, I let the audience vote on, should we talk about my guilty pleasure action movie, my guilty pleasure romantic comedy movie, my guilty pleasure animated movie, or my guilty pleasure comedy movie. And the audience picked rom-com, so we get to talk about one of my favourite rom-coms, 10 Things I Hate About You.
You see that girl?
Yeah.
That's Kat Stratford. I want you to go out with her.
Yeah, sure, Sparky.
And before we get onto that, Lucas, do you have, like, a guilty pleasure movie? Like, when I say guilty pleasure, I don't mean the movie's bad. I just mean that when you're, like, you know, you're ill or you're hungover, you just put this movie on because, you know, it's comforting.
Yeah, maybe not guilty pleasure necessarily, but in terms of comfort films, I've got a handful, like Lilo and Stitch, Wreck-It Ralph, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the Cornetto trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice one, Doris.
Nothing like a bit of girl on girl.
And for anyone curious about what my other guilty pleasure movies are, I guess you can go ask in the Discord. The one that I will say is, though, I'm very disappointed people didn't pick action movie, because we could have talked about Real Steel.
Oh, okay.
I love Real Steel so much, but we're not talking about that today.
This robot seems to be running on empty. I don't believe it. Adam is taunting Zeus.
Mr. Turbo!
He's actually asking for more.
And Lucas, you'd never watched 10 Things I Hate About You before, right? Until I told you we were doing it for this episode.
So, confusingly, I thought, yeah, I think I've seen this movie before. I'll watch it again, though, because it's been a long time. Turns out what I was thinking about was How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Oh, which is a very, very different movie. And I guess a lot of rom-coms do kind of blend into one another. And for me, that's especially true, because one of my favourite comedy movies is Not Another Teen Movie, which I contend is one of the greatest parody movies ever made.
Oh my god, Jake! Oh, he's so hi, stud. Hi, Jake. Jake.
I love what he does with his eyebrows.
Oh my god, there's Jake. He's so popular.
And I contend it's up there with Airplane and the Naked Gun series in just how good its satire and humour is.
Who's that?
It's my mother.
You have her eyes.
Nice beaver.
Thank you. I just had it stuffed.
Let me help you with that.
Yeah, it nails that high school genre so, like, down to the bone.
Not to mention, it so perfectly satirises both rom-coms and the teen sex comedies, which are different. Like, rom-coms are like your 10 Things I Hate About You, your 16 Candles. Your teen sex comedies are like your American Pie.
I say we make a pact. Right here, right now, before the end of the year, we all get laid. Mitch, we always make that pact.
Like, Not Another Teen Movie combines all of those tropes and satirises so many different things so well. And some of the scenes are so close to the thing that they're parodying that I confused them for the actual movie. Like, for the longest time, I thought, like, Chris Evans' Captain America was in, like, a teen comedy.
Look, peer pressure is something that all teenagers have to deal with. And it's not easy to stand up to your friends. But hey, I really like this girl. And I don't care if she has glasses and a ponytail. So if my friends want me to choose between them and her, I'm choosing them. I mean, come on, they're my boys. And to be honest, the glasses and ponytail do make her look like a freak.
Not another teen movie.
Until I realised, no, he was in Not Another Teen Movie, which is making fun of romantic comedies.
I obviously don't remember every joke and how well it holds up, but I did watch it a lot later than it came out and was like, oh my god, this was quite groundbreaking at the time.
It still holds up and is exceptionally well made. And the reason why I say I think it deserves to stand alongside the likes of the Naked Gun series and Airplane, is because the satire is so on point. Plus, it follows the same rules as the Naked Gun series and Airplane, which were directed by Zucker Abrams Zucker. And they had like this informal like list of rules they had for their comedies, which is that there needs to be a joke on screen in every single fucking scene.
Caucasian?
Yeah, you know, a white guy. With a mustache, about 6'3".
An awfully big mustache.
And you can see that in the Naked Gun series. Whenever there's an exposition scene, there's always something happening in the background. So that there's always something funny on screen.
Disperse! Please disperse! There's nothing for you to see here. Keep moving.
Where'd they find Nordberg at?
Right out there, Frank. You want to take a dinghy?
No, I took care of that at the press conference. Doesn't make sense, you know. Good policeman, bright future. Something like this happens.
And the same is true of Not Another Teen Movie. And that's why it's so good to rewatch, because the amount of things you miss is ridiculous. Like, and I imagine there's a lot of people out there who write it off as being the same vein as like the Scary Movie franchise. And it's like, no, the Scary Movie franchise fucking sucks. Except for the third one, because, fun fact, the person who came in and cleaned that one up was one of the people who made Airplane.
President, is everything all right? The exits are all blocked. I'll find one soon. Everybody clear! This way, sir! God, this is exciting.
You're excited. You should feel my nipples.
I would contend that Not Another Teen Movie is more in line with maybe like a Scream, where it's still clearly making fun of things, but not as amped up parody as much.
Well, Scary Movie doesn't tell any original jokes. It's reference. It's like watching Family Guy. It's just reference, with the exception of the third one, because the third one, like, it was cleaned up by one of the Zuckers. I think maybe both of them, and that's why the third Scary Movie feels so tonally different from the rest of them, in the sense that it's actually fucking funny and has jokes.
I can't break free! I think they must have some kind of weakness.
Huh? I found it! Without their heads, they're powerless!
And it has a lot of like background jokes. For example, the scene where the guy gets thrown out of the window. It's like, if anyone doesn't remember, Scary Movie 3, it's parodying 8 Mile and Signs. Of all things.
Right, okay, yeah.
And when the guy gets thrown out of the window and he's like, look, I'm going to go find my rap career. Don't follow me. The bus in the background just says Da Hood on it. Which is a blink and you'd miss it joke, which is a hallmark of like Zucker Abrams and Zucker stuff. Like the Naked Gun series, always like background jokes. You don't get anything like that in Scary Movie.
For your information, this hip-hop thing's gonna get me paid. I'm gonna win that rap battle tomorrow night. Rap battle? Oh, for God's sake. You just hate me because I'm black. You don't have any faith in me. You don't have any faith in anything anymore. So why don't you just worry about you, and I'll worry about...
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how the new Naked Gun movie holds up, because the one trailer I saw, it was not a good sign.
There's one joke in that trailer that actually feels like something Zucker Abrams and Zucker wrote, and it's where Liam Neeson says, take a seat, and Pamela Anderson grabs the chair and walks out of the room.
Please, take a chair.
Thank you.
It's the only joke that feels like it's from the Naked Gun. The rest of them just feel like bad jokes that Seth MacFarlane wrote, and it's like, oh, Seth MacFarlane is writing this movie, and Seth MacFarlane's not fucking funny.
Oh, no, he's not. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Best.
I need a bathroom. I need this room immediately.
There's a line, man.
Police prisoners.
There's one joke in that trailer that feels like a Naked Gun joke, and it's that one. And the rest of them just feel like Seth MacFarlane sniffing his own farts, because like he lives on a planet called his own arse.
Yeah, that does make sense now you say it. But I mean, Karl, we're not here to talk about...
We're here to talk about 10 Things I Hate About You. So, 10 Things I Hate About You is a 1999 teen romantic comedy film directed by Gil Junger in his film directorial debut. And Lucas, are you familiar with the work of Gil Junger?
Not familiar with the name, I might be familiar with the word.
Well, that's the correct answer, because besides this, they've directed fucking nothing. The only other movie on their entire filmography that I remotely recognise is Black Knight, starring Martin Lawrence.
Oh, that's rough.
That's the only other movie they did. It's like, which surprised me, because 10 Things I Hate About You is pretty good.
Yeah, it's like actually a decent rom-com, yeah.
Yeah. And that maybe has a lot to do with the fact that the story is just Taming of the Shrew. So maybe Gil Junger is good at telling a story when Shakespeare already fucking wrote it.
However, this does feel like a good modern adaptation. It doesn't feel out of place at all.
Yeah, it's one of, like, the better, like, William Shakespeare, like, adaptations. Like, everyone always holds up, like, it's the Baz Luhrmann one, right? Romeo and Juliet, which is just direct, like, at least, like, dialogue-wise from the original text, but they just give them guns instead of swords.
Which, upon reflection, is cool in a funny way. Like, John Leguizamo just swaggering around, shooting people, is pretty fun, but I don't like it as Romeo and Juliet.
Here comes of the House of Capulet. Karl, I will back thee.
I will give the film credit, though, and something that's actually mentioned on the Wikipedia page is that English teachers use it as a way of introducing students to the work of William Shakespeare.
Yeah, that definitely is what happened with us.
Every single person I know who knows about Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet watched it in English class, or English lit. Because the complaint a lot of students have about Shakespeare is, it's written funny, I don't get what he's talking about. But if you show them that, I know movie tropes, I've watched movies, I understand this scene, even though I don't understand exactly what they're saying, and some of the language they're using feels a bit archaic, but I understand the scene, and it's just a good way of, like, introducing them to, like, you know, William Shakespeare's plays.
It's certainly more attention-grabbing for, like, a younger audience than, say, watching Othello, right?
Yeah, even though Othello is a great play. And there's been, like, many an adaptation of that over the years. I think I watched it in the theatre, and it's really good. I do like Othello, but do you know the one version of Othello that I now think is superior to any other version of Othello? Like, I'm sorry, Laurence Olivier.
Go on.
Key and Peele did a skit about Othello.
Hell yes. And Othello did the beast with two backs with that comely white maiden, and didst not anyone speaketh against him. He's straight pimping.
I don't think you can quite call that a version
It's
of
not
Othello.
an adaptation, but the skit uses period-accurate language. And all the jokes, all the insults, all the lines are period-accurate, because I forget which member of Key and Peele, probably both of them, are, like, trained Shakespearean actors.
Prithee, make way. Prithee, make way. Be gone, Sirrah.
You killed Othello.
A black man got it going on and you shuffle off his mortal coil?
I say unto thee, that's a tragedy.
It's up there with, like, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet as one of the most accurate, like, pieces of media inspired by or directly adapting something William Shakespeare wrote, especially as well in the tone that it gets across. Cause
Oh, Othello is my shine!
Yeah.
Othello, mother... You dead, white person!
Because a common misconception a lot of people have about the work of William Shakespeare is that, well, it's for the theatre, and the theatre's posh. Like, it's hoity-toity, right? It's like, not William Shakespeare stuff. He specifically wrote his plays to get bums on seats. Back in the day, the theatre was our version of the cinema. And I remember an English teacher of mine describing William Shakespeare as the Michael Bay of his day. And we all giggled and laughed and said, no. Look at how many of his plays have sex, violence, and murder in there. He knew what people liked. Like, it's
all of them, right?
Yeah, every
Just
single one.
All of them.
And that's actually something that's addressed and lampshaded in Not Another Teen Movie, where they have the really staid English professor and someone in class farts, I think.
Let's open our books and continue with our poetry lesson.
You know what I think about poetry?
Oh, is that a music?
And he sits there and goes, do you find that funny? And he goes on this tirade about how fart jokes aren't funny. And he says, like, Oscar Wilde, Shakespeare, those are the true comedians. That is the essence of comedy. Farting isn't funny.
The sublime, poetic genius of a clever turn of phrase. That is true comedy.
Happens to my Betsy.
And the irony there is that William Shakespeare probably found farts fucking hilarious, as did Oscar Wilde.
I'm pretty sure that there probably is fart jokes in certain Shakespeare plays.
Like, he invented new ways to insult people.
Yeah.
Like, William Shakespeare literally invented new insults. He was that guy.
Go on, we'll finish him off.
Yeasty, tickle-brain, whey-faced, nut-hook, scones-made!
Still the champion!
Any of you clay-brained fools want a piece of me?
A really, really great scene, because on the surface, you can yes, because... And that's a really great scene. One, because it ends with like a toilet crashing through the ceiling and that person get covered in shit. But also the fact that everything he's saying is wrong. Like, he's like, oh, William Shakespeare's high art. It's like, no, it's not. He made it for the common man. Just like the people making Not Another Teen Movie made it for the average Jane and Joe out there. They're not trying to pretend it's high art, and they're not trying to pretend they're above making a fart joke, because fart jokes are funny.
Human excrement!
10 Things I Hate About You isn't fart joke material, but it's obviously not written as a like direct language adaptation of Shakespeare like the Romeo and Juliet was. Like, it is just a teen rom-com that if you didn't tell me it was Taming the Shrew, I would probably have not even remembered what Taming of the Shrew was. Like,
but still, I think it's a great film, and that's why it's one of my like comfort movies, my guilty pleasure movies.
I was saying that in a positive. That was not me trying to like have a dig at the movie. I actually think they did a really good job of just bringing Shakespeare to a new audience without you even needing to know.
Also, as well, that cast.
You're gonna pay me to take out some chick.
Mm-hmm.
How much? $20. Fine, 30.
It is, and one person who is not a big name necessarily, I don't know which actor it is, but I was there, it's like the kind of dorky friend that introduces Joseph Gordon-Levitt to the school, and I was like, I recognise that face. It's like, oh, it's Bernard from the Santa Claus.
In regards to those actors, there's some big names on there. This is their like breakthrough role, as it mentions here. So, Stiles, Ledger, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt, all of whom were nominated for various teen-orientated awards, all got their start in this film. This is what brought them to prominence. 10 Things I Hate About You.
I thought it might have been, yeah. And it's one of those of like, oh, okay, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is okay in the movie. I can see why he got a career out of that, but just Heath Ledger is stealing those scenes.
I do feel bad for Joseph Gordon-Levitt because Heath Ledger is fucking acting circles around him in every scene they're in.
Yeah.
Like, you can see why Heath Ledger was considered to be one of the greatest actors ever, right? When you just see him in this, like, oh, it's his first big movie, and he's fucking just, he dominates the scene. Like, he walks on like he's 9 foot tall. Like, he walks onto set like he's got a power level of like 500,000. It's ridiculous.
I always wanted to play Hamlet, but I'd never play Hamlet until I was ready. And the other character in Shakespeare's works would be Petruchio, that I'd play first before Hamlet. And this is the closest thing I've had to playing Petruchio so far.
You know, every time I see Heath Ledger in a new movie, I'm just like, oh, like, the guy has got so much range and charisma, and just every time I see a new movie where he's in it, I'm like, oh, and obviously, like, such a shame that, you know, rest in peace, and, like, it's so clear to me, like, oh, even second one, he's just nailing it.
He's so good. He's so good in the film. Like I said, he's the best actor in the entire film.
Yeah,
like, by like a country mile. It's not even close who's the best actor in that thing.
Speaking of not even close, I thought there could have been, like, a 10-year age gap between him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt in this film.
Well, Joseph Gordon-Levitt had a very youthful face, and like, even though it was one of his earliest roles, like, he didn't really want to do the film. He's like, I don't want to do a high school film. It's like, with that face, you're doing a high school film, Joseph. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I did look it up. They were like 18 and 20, Joseph being the younger, and it's just one of those of, like, he just clearly, as you say, had a youthful face, and it just, the difference 2 years can make between people around that age, they look so wildly different.
Which is kind of like the whole point of the film, right? It's like Heath Ledger is like, he's the new kid who's very dangerous. He's the bad boy. And they're scared of him, because why the fuck wouldn't you be scared of him? Look, he's so scary looking.
Yeah, and immediately it's like, oh, he's this psychotic guy who spent a year in prison and that's why he's older. And yeah.
So let's go to the background of the film now. So, writing duo Karen McCullough and Kirsten Smith were inspired to write 10 Things I Hate About You after watching Clueless. That's like another film that has like some big actors like breakout roles in it, right? 'Cause that's where like Paul Rudd, one of his early roles, right?
Oh, is that one of Paul Rudd's breakout ones?
Well, there's that, and there's like one of the Scream... No, not one of the Scream movies, one of the Halloween movies.
Right.
He's in one of those.
Okay, yeah.
Being a fan of teen films, the pair set out to find a classic play on myth and turn it into a contemporary high school movie, eventually settling on Taming of the Shrew, a comedy by William Shakespeare. And I like that as well. I want to write a movie, but I don't want to write an entire movie. Find something we can just rip off.
It's interesting, right? I get that it's one of those it's difficult to do an adaptation well, and they did do a good job, but you've got to get like half credit right there.
And I get it, William Shakespeare literally invented storytelling tropes that are still used today. It's hard not to at least invoke him, even accidentally when writing a movie, but just I kind of respect of like, well, who's dead and wrote a good story that we can just like adapt? William Shakespeare.
Look, if Disney can do it with The Lion King, then why not?
Every studio now is trying to create a connected universe. The universe that they all love the most, though, is the public domain universe. They don't have to pay to use that shit.
When we're thinking of which cynical way to make a movie, I think I'd prefer getting a 10 Things I Hate About You than getting Transformers 9 or whatever, you know?
Yeah, you can argue that even though it's not an original story, it's still more original because you do need to have some writing talent to adapt a story written hundreds of years ago to fit in the modern day, or at least like, you know, the modern day when the story was being written.
At least it's doing more work than Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. I've just taken the fucking script.
Then again, though, I do like, you know, like the fact that that's so close to the original, it becomes its own thing.
Yeah, and there's strengths and weaknesses to both ways of doing it, but I think they both end up with entertaining movies in the end.
Yeah, and speaking of ripping something off, they wanted to write a strong-willed feminist character. That's how like Julia Stiles' character came to be, and I do like that, because apparently that was really, really like trailblazing to have a character who's like, hey, I don't need a man.
What did I miss?
The oppressive patriarchal values that dictate our education.
Good.
In a romantic comedy, then I thought to myself, actually, no, that probably is quite trailblazing, given that every fucking romantic comedy is like it. Speaking of Seth MacFarlane earlier, the Family Guy joke, right? Of shh, over the next 90 minutes, I'm going to show you why every problem in your life can be solved with my penis.
I was wondering if you're free for coffee.
Oh, no, I can't. I've got a lunch meeting and then a meeting after lunch. After that.
Over the next 90 minutes, I'd like to show you that all your problems can be solved by my penis.
Some of the stuff that I can't remember Julia's name now, but
it's Julia Stiles. I can find the name here, but she plays Katarina Stratford, but she's Julia Stiles.
Interesting because this movie is 20 something years old, and some of the things that she was coming out with in class, I was quite impressed with even now watching it in 2025.
Hemingway? He was an abusive alcoholic misogynist who squandered half his life hanging around Picasso trying to nail his leftovers.
The funniest part to me, though, is it's based on a play from hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
And you think to yourself, wow, women have really had that shit a time of it in regards to their portrayal in media.
One person that I will say I swung so hard on, mentioning, you know, the class, is like the teacher. Because at first, he like dunks on the dickhead ex-boyfriend, right? But then he immediately turns on Julia Stiles' character as well. It's like, actually, no, you're just a dickhead, right?
Well, I think I like the guidance counsellor who's just writing a porno novel. She's there trying to write 50 Shades of Grey.
Swollen. Turgid.
Openly trying to write it in the middle of just telling kids to fuck off.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's one of the most realistic teacher characters I've ever seen. She's just so fucking tired of dealing with shitty kids.
Oh, God. It was very funny just seeing how much she's just
checked out.
does not give a shit she's out. Yeah.
Onto the background, though, there's more stuff to rip off Lucas because Patrick Verona, played by Heath Ledger, was inspired by Judd Nelson's character in The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can see it.
Yeah.
And speaking of Breakfast Club, I'm going back to Not Another Teen Movie now, where they straight up just redo the Breakfast Club bit and even get the guy from the Breakfast Club to have a cameo. And they highlight how fucking cringy that movie is. Like, do you know the bit where, like, the bad boy rebel's like, I don't even fucking care.
Yeah.
And it's like, he played as him being a badass. They just have the character in Another Teen Movie who's playing him do that scene, and you realize, man, he's just such a shit kid.
I don't want to hear it, mister. You just bought yourself another detention.
But that's not fair.
Cry me a river, dickface. You just bought yourself another one.
You shorts.
What was that?
Are you through? No, I'm doing society a favor. So? That's another one right now. I've got you for the rest of your natural-born life if you don't watch your step. You want another one? Yes. You got it!
Yeah, but there's definitely a lot of charm in Breakfast Club. I started watching it going, oh, I do not like these kids. And by the end of it, they kind of charm you and bring you around, right?
I think the thing about Breakfast Club that's aged poorly is, like, it's the thing that everyone always points out, that, like, the cute, hot goth girl gets, like, made to look better. And she just comes out in a pink dress. And it's like, oh, cool, so you just took away all of her style and personality? Fucking great.
Yeah. It's like, you took someone who has a cool aesthetic and just went, well, she's prettier, she just ignores her own style, right?
Like, dress in pink. And, like, change everything about yourself that makes you feel comfortable. It's like, is there anything that's, like, aged more poorly in regards to, like, attraction than, like, every comedy, romantic comedy, like, every piece of media in which, like, you know, they have a goth of them being unattractive, right? That's always the joke.
It reminds me of, it's Bring It On, right?
Yes, Bring It On is such a good... That movie whips ass.
And I'm trying to remember the cast member that plays, like, the goth girl in that.
Don't think you fooling us because we saw you at our practice and I know you stole our routine.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about because we've always done our own cheers. Right, girls?
That's right. Well, then you better bring it.
Oh, it's already been brought in.
Nice comeback, Priscilla. Yeah!
Because that's the thing, I love romantic comedies. I love, like, the good ones, like 10 Things I Hate About You. I also love the bad ones, just as a student of media, to see how problematic they were, to appreciate how far we've come in regards to our portrayals of, you know, relationships or what is healthy or the right thing to do. Because I think something that people always point out has been like, oh yeah, this was bad. It's like Revenge of the Nerds, and that's where you get the guy who dresses like a girl's boyfriend and then gives her oral sex. And it's like, and that's portrayed as him winning. Yay! He committed, like, sexual assault. Great.
Dear God.
Yeah, that was, like, you know, 40 years ago. And that's why I think it's valuable, important, you know, to watch these older movies, some of which are good, some of which are bad, to give yourself a more rounded perspective on, like, you know, what media was like at the time and how it's progressed and changed.
What about the Patelli sisters? So they're slightly disfigured and connected at the head.
Hi, Dick.
But combined, those two make up one pretty decent chick.
I'd do it.
I know you would, Reggie Ray.
So yeah, I double checked, and it's Eliza Dushku in Bring It On, where she's like ever so slight alt looking, and all of the cheerleaders are like, "You fucking suck, we don't want you here." And she's like, "Look, you guys have nothing else. I don't want to do this, but this is like the only way I can get, like, you know, my gymnastics gig."
Where's this girl from? Romania?
Can she yell? We'll try and I'll do.
10 Things I Hate About You. I do think that has, you know, aged quite well in terms of the content in it, and obviously, as you say, that's partly because it's like a very, very old play by Shakespeare, and it's just an adaptation.
What I mean is, like, isn't that interesting that something based on something from, like, you know, several hundred years ago has less problematic elements than stuff written 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's interesting. And
it actually has a better portrayal of, like, women having autonomy than stuff written 20 years ago.
There is a gorgeous woman
masturbating on my bed.
Thank you, Nadia.
You know, if you ever had a chance with Nadia, this is it. What am I supposed to do, Kev?
A play written hundreds of years ago has a better written female character than stuff written like a decade ago. It's what are writers doing?
Yeah, it's wild because, okay, you do end up with two women falling in love with the guys, but, you know, Julia Stiles' character, she stands up for herself, and as you say, she's constantly throughout the entire movie like, I don't need no man because a man fucked me over.
I also like as well, like, her character, like, gimmick of just constantly crashing a car into other people.
Yeah.
It's a great little character quirk. She just crashes a car all the time. It's great.
And then also, you know, you've got Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character who, like, actually earns the sister's love out of respect, and she dunks on the guy who's just a douchebag.
Again, you can see a worse version of that movie, where, like, you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is, like, lusting after she's the hot, popular girl, which is what he initially does, but then he eventually realises that he likes her as a person, and their relationship blossoms organically. Same with, like, Heath Ledger, where he's like, well, I'm not going to do it, pay me. And then he realises that they actually have a lot in common, and he feels genuine remorse for tricking her.
It's not every day you find a girl who'll flash someone to get you out of detention.
Oh, God. Ledger's singing scene in the high school bleachers, regarded as the most iconic scene in the film. And I think so, right? Even if you're not familiar with the film, you've probably seen that thing of, like, Heath Ledger just singing and dancing on the bleachers, getting chased by, like, the security guard. And I love that you can tell Heath Ledger is just ad-libbing.
I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to on the lonely night, I love you, baby.
Because you see him start, like, slapping the security guard on his ass. And you know he was just doing that shit to be funny, right?
Yeah, it fits well with the character, right?
And I guess I've got to give a shout out to, again, Not Another Teen Movie, where they reference that scene and say, well, what's a good way to woo a girl? We'll find a song with her name in it and sing it to her. Character's name is Janie, so he sings Janie's Got a Gun. And it's Chris Evans singing Janie's Got a Gun. And at first it's like, it plays out the exact same way with him. Like, oh, that's kind of fun. And I'm like, wait, Janie's got a gun! The security guards go for her instead of him.
Run away from the pain.
Take it easy, miss.
Run away. Run away from the pain.
Just give us the gun, Janie.
Oh, God, we need to talk about Not Another Teen Movie at some point. It's so good. It's so good.
Do a rewatch of it.
Like, one of my favourite jokes is like a blinking you'd missed it thing. Like, during like the high school football scene, there's a guy who gets tackled and his football jersey says extra. It's just stuff like that is so good. But anyway, like, that scene was filmed in just 3 takes. The song, though, had to be changed numerous times, and it was almost I Touch Myself by the Australian rock band Divinals. And that, I think, would have suited the character Heath Ledger was playing far better.
It would have done, because the entire point was to be as embarrassing as possible.
And not to mention as well, Heath Ledger is Australian.
Exactly right, so that he would be more likely to know that song.
And his character is also Australian, that's the thing. He's playing an Australian exchange student, and Heath Ledger himself is Australian. Plus, it'd been funnier.
It would have been. It's a shame that wasn't the song that they were able to land on.
It would have made for
the scene still works, but it would have been an added extra element.
I think it just would have been funnier.
Yeah.
In a romantic comedy, why would you not want it to be funnier? But there's one more section to cover, Lucas, and it is legacy and cultural impacts. The film is often considered one of the greatest teen romantic comedies of all time, receiving praise for subverting expectations and having a feminist lead character. The film has been cited as an influence for Netflix's rom-com revival. Kat's defiance for conventional feminine attitudes was seen as an extreme brand of feminism at the time. And it's like, all she is saying, I don't want a boyfriend. Extreme.
I want you to trust me to make my own choices, and I want you to stop trying to control my life just because you can't control yours.
Quite a lot of times where she talks about, like, feminist rhetoric at the time.
Yeah, and she's like, I think she's like seen like reading like Sylvia Plath and stuff like that. Unless that's a joke that's made in like Not Another Teen Movie again, because that's like the classic like sad girl book to read.
Yeah, I do think there's definitely a bit more than just she doesn't want a man, but certainly that's the most pervasive part of the like feminist aspect of her.
And it's wild to think that that was seen as extreme, of just a girl saying, I don't need a boyfriend to be fulfilled or happy. It's like, whoa there! Let's slow that roll, shall we? Again, the Family Guy joke, right? Of like, we need to teach you over the next half an hour to 90 minutes that all your problems can be solved with my penis.
You know, obviously the movie still ends with women getting with two guys, right?
It does indeed, yes. They get to the same end goal as a lot of the romantic comedies, but the path they take is certainly a lot more interesting.
Ends with a fucking beatdown. Like, I was so shocked when it wasn't. She's just gonna like slap him at prom, right? And she just goes all in, like combos him.
She just does like give him a 2-piece and a biscuit. Let's go. So.
Shit, Bianca! I'm shooting a nose spray ad tomorrow.
That's for making my day bleed. That's for my sister. And that's for me.
The film is often regarded as a cult classic due to the unconventional stereotypes resonating throughout generations and in youth culture years later. That's the thing, I'm not going to say it's timeless, because like the clothing is very 90s, but the attitudes and the characters that have those attitudes, there's a lot there you could glob onto, regardless of the time in which you're watching it.
I think if you changed the fashion to modern day and did the same script, I think it would, do well releasing today, yeah. I think it'd be fine.
Yeah, and there are adaptations. So I like the idea there's an adaptation of an adaptation. So, in June 1999, the Scholastic Corporation published a novelisation of the story. It's Taming of the Shrew! That's gotta be like... Okay. It says it was adapted by... I'm glad it says adapted by, not written by, because fucking hell, written by would have been doing some heavy lifting. David Levithan. And I wonder what that's like as a writer. To be like, okay, what am I doing? Do a novelisation of a film. Okay, that's a fairly common thing. What film is it? 10 Things I Hate About You. There's already a novelisation of that. It's called Taming of the Shrew. In October of 2008, ABC Family ordered a pilot episode of 10 Things I Hate About You, a half-hour, single-camera comedy series based on the film. Larry Miller is the only actor from the film to reprise his role of Walter Stratford in the TV series.
One just wants to fit in.
We're headed to high school, not the Academy Awards.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression.
The other is determined to stand out.
My dinosaur went into Jurassic Park here.
Based on the hit movie, 10 Things I Hate About You.
I'll see you at tryouts. I really hope that you don't suck.
Talk about something that just does not need to exist.
Also, Joe mentioned earlier, like Gil Junger, his career, it's like 10 Things I Hate About You, fucking nothing. He directed the pilot. Yeah. And what makes it worse is that I think that guy just knows this is the only popular thing he's ever made because there are sequels. So, in May 2012, a standalone sequel titled 10 Things I Hate About Life was announced to be in development with Gil Junger serving as director and screenwriter. Evan Rachel Wood and Thomas McDonald were cast in the lead roles. Production halted soon after, though, and the movie was ultimately shelved indefinitely, resulting in legal action being taken by the producers. But we're not done, because Gil is not done with this idea, Lucas. This perfect idea that had a perfect wrap-up. Gil Junger is convinced that they can fucking do it better than Shakespeare. Shakespeare never wrote a sequel. Gil Junger's going to fucking write one. Actors being dead be damned. So, in May 2025, a sequel was in development with the title 10 Things I Hate About Dating. Gil Junger will once again serve as director. Junger stated that, similar to the previous movie being a William Shakespeare contemporary retelling, the new project will be based on The Misanthrope or The Cantankerous Lover. And it's just... get an original fucking idea, dude. Write your own movie.
Either, get your own stuff, or at least just adapt an old thing again without it having to be part of a franchise of 10 Things I Hate.
Franchises are popular, Lucas. You might be thinking, well, there's a very glaring issue with this reboot, right? That being Heath Ledger is dead. So, the director expressed hopes that the cast from the original movie would reprise their roles in a variety of cameos or as a supporting cast alongside new characters. The movie is intended to be the first in a trilogy of sequels, with the additional projects tentatively titled 10 Things I Hate About Marriage and 10 Things I Hate About Kids. Junja acknowledged that while Ledger cannot appear in the new installment, there will be references and a tribute made to the deceased actor. It's like, Ledger's already got a tribute, a fucking Oscar given to him posthumously after he died. And a sterling body of work that will stand the test of time. I don't think he needs a shout out in 10 Things I Hate About You, Part Deuce. Right?
Jesus fuck. I think he'd rather not be in the movie. And I just don't get it, because with 10 Things I Hate About You, you had a winning formula right there. Just do more modern adaptations of Shakespeare.
Shakespeare's plays, right? It's right there. It's in the public domain. No one's going to, sue you.
You don't need to make it a thing where you're focused on 10 Things I Hate.
I really get the feeling that Gil Junja has just not had a very good career, and they're obsessed with the idea of bringing this thing back. So I'll go through their filmography right now. So their filmography is 10 Things I Hate About You, Black Knight starring Martin Lawrence. If
That's
Only.
about all we need to say on that one.
I've not heard of that. Have you heard of If Only? It's Jennifer Love Hewitt and Paul Nicholas. 10 Things I Hate About Life, which is a cancelled and unfinished film. And then Think Like a Dog, starring Josh Duhamel and Megan Fox.
I mean, you can't say that they're not still pulling in some stars.
2020's Megan Fox in a direct-to-video movie about a dog.
Is Josh Duhamel not popular?
Well, I think he was probably between projects when they did that.
Yeah, maybe. You know what? That sounds like an easy paycheck.
Because the other things that Gil Junja has written and directed include Being Dunbar, Earthquake, Happy Campers, none of which have blue links on Wikipedia. We also have My Fake Fiancé, starring Melissa Joan Hart and Joey Lawrence. Then we have Beauty in the Briefcase, starring Hilary Duff.
You know what? I'm not mad about the title, though.
Christmas Cupid, starring fucking nobody and who gives a shit. Teen Spirit, starring, oh, what a surprise, fucking nobody and who gives a shit. Santa's Little Helper, starring, again, do you want to guess, Lucas? Fucking nobody and who gives a shit. Oh wait, sorry, no, The Miz. Sorry, stars The Miz. And then direct-to-video in 2008, Get Smart, Bruce and Lloyd, Out of Control.
Wait, is that like a spin-off to Get Smart?
Yes, it's a side spin-off to Get Smart, starring two of the characters from that.
After you've seen Get Smart in theaters, meet the brains behind the intelligence.
Bruce, Lloyd, where are you two going? Early lunch?
Yes? No?
Well, Karl, in 5-10 years, when Gil Junja is the biggest name in Hollywood with a franchise of 10 Things I Hate, you'll be looking back on this video and thinking, what was I saying?
Oh, I just can't get... Oh, and then there's a bunch of shitty comedians that have seemingly wrote jokes for, John Larroquette and Jeff Foxworthy.
Again, Karl, you're gonna look
real fucking stupid,
years.
right? When Gil Junja gets the 10 Things I Hate About You-niverse off the ground, right? Oh god, this started so fun, and it's wait, what's this directed? Oh, nothing.
Yeah. Ooh.
This is almost as depressing as when I was writing a script about iRobot, and the guy who wrote iRobot is a guy called Jeff Vintar. And the only thing of note he's done in 30 years as a screenwriter is iRobot. And when I went to the IMDb page to see if they'd worked on anything else, it was a barren fucking wasteland. And the only thing of note on their IMDb page besides iRobot is Final Fantasy Spirits Within. And it got even more depressing than that, because when I clicked on what does this dude look like, there's a bunch of AI generated images of a guy, who I assume is Jeff Vintar, with his shirt off, looking really buff. And I looked at who uploaded those photos, and it's a guy called a user called Jeff Vintar. And I just sat there because I was writing the scripts and I was having a great mood. So I got to watch iRobot. That's a fun movie. And I just slowly went through this guy's entire career and got more and more depressed. As I was going through his IMDb page and interviews with him where he's talking about, I'm working on something big. Maybe I'm working on that iRobot sequel everybody wants, and it's from like 15 fucking years ago. And it's like, oh no. And then he's like uploading AI pictures of himself with his shirt off being all ripped. And it's like, what are you doing, Jeff? And then he clearly wrote his own IMDb page as well because it's like 2,500 words long. And when I look at like, okay, who uploaded this? And it's like, this was not uploaded by Jeff Vintar. It was uploaded by Jeff Vintar's official biographer. It's like, you don't have a fucking biographer, Jeff. Who are you fooling? And it made me so sad. Of like, you could have just been known as a guy who wrote a good movie and coasted off of that. You don't need to upload AI-generated images of yourself with your shirt off so people think you're buff. I can tell.
I thought that movie was just an adaptation of a book.
I guess I could tell this story dead quick. iRobot is not an adaptation of an Isaac Asimov story. It was an original screenplay written by Jeff Vintar, which was about a guy who goes into a building and there's a murder to solve. And it was basically a stage play, or it was intended to be like akin to a stage play, of a murder mystery that plays out with a guy interviewing a bunch of robots. At some point, Fox, I think it was, gained the rights to Isaac Asimov's like iRobot stories and went, fuck it, make it into an iRobot adaptation. And Jeff Vintar changed nothing except the title.
Yeah, okay, that makes more sense. Similar to, I think we've discussed, like, they did that with a bunch of Die Hard sequels, right, as well.
But just, I remember like when I was writing that script and I was on a great time, it's like, I get to like, see like pre-crisis Will Smith in his element. And then just I get to that, like, just that guy's IMDb page and I'm just like, oh my god.
Is it the funniest thing that, like, I guess post-crisis Will Smith began on the night he won an Oscar?
The thing about the slap is that it wasn't even a funny joke, but it's more that Will Smith got up so fucking fast.
Yeah, he did. Like, dear God, security were not on it that night.
What, you don't expect Will Smith just walk up and fucking just annihilate Chris Rock?
Richard!
Yeah, I do like all the edits as well people have done where they've put like live bars over Chris Rock. And it's like Will the Prince of Bel-Air, like he's a Dark Souls boss. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and see you all next time.
Janie's got a gun. Janie Briggs got a gun. She's got a gun! Janie's got a gun!
Karl, it's the start of a new month, and of course that means it's time for a new shout-out for the end of the month, and this month, Karl, it's Wrath Month.
And for anyone out there unfamiliar with the concept of Wrath Month, it's something I came up with, and the idea is you find all those companies and people who adopted and used Pride imagery to sell their product and or service, and then you get real angry with them for not doing stuff to help out the queer community. So let us know in the comments where you think gay rage should be directed towards. Who deserves the gay rage the most? Who's not done it? Who's not helped?
Where do we take the energy from Pride Month and direct our rage at? Which, admittedly, this year has been less because they're all fucking cowards.
Yes, like, who is going to be our gay Goku that we're going to direct all of our gay energy into to give them, like, ultra gay instinct?
Either way, it's time to shout out everybody that made this happen for this month and kept all of the lights and mics on, so to speak. And Karl, I believe you have the first shout out, so go ahead.
Oh, also as well, I'd like to remind everyone out there that we have a standing offer, a challenge, dare I say, to our audience at home to come up with the hardest to pronounce words they can think of for their name over on Patreon. And boy, have people taken us up on that. They've taken that gauntlet, picked it up, shat in it, and slapped it across the face.
It's gonna get to a point where, like, none of these shout-outs are in English anymore. It's getting there.
I'm waiting for someone to just put asterisk the sound of anguish screaming.
Well, I'll get to one later where, yeah, there's a literal non-language part in one of the shout-outs today.
And the first person we have to shout out is Tinakui Horchata Otiklane Tommy. And I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. They've mentioned here that it is in the language of Nahuatl. And I'm unfamiliar with that language, so let me know how I did.
That sounds highly offensive. Does it, white man? No.
Yeah, it literally says in the patron name, like, you said a different language, so let's try it. Let's go. And then the next person we have to shout out is Carlo Palochico, which says, it's Spanish for Karl Smallwood.
It feels like I should have shouted that one outright.
I feel like it's more natural for me to say it because I introduce you so often, right?
Yeah, Carlo Palochico. I always thought Spanish for wood is Madeira. Am I getting that wrong?
Maybe it changes because it's like, you know, the affix of like small suffix. I don't know. Yeah.
Either way, the next person we have to shout out is someone who's left us a tongue twister here. So, the Boludos Bajando, Baja Blast, Buffing Bacas de Caca de Buffalo, Bombonado, Bolodeses, Bucanado, a Boca, Bailando con Barbosa.
And as far as I can tell from the emojis and that, I believe that's like a fire dragon or flaming dragon.
I believe so, yes, but I don't know how to pronounce emojis out loud.
No.
How did Egyptians do it? I don't know.
Just bring out the hieroglyphics.
Alright, read the bank what I have so far, Mrs. Cleopatra.
Bird, giant eye, pyramid, bird.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Giant eye, dead fish, cat head. Guy doing this.
But then the next person we have to shout out is a little bit easier. It's Roslindis Memphis. I kind of got away with that one a little bit there.
I am the man with no name.
Roslindis Memphis.
At your service.
You have indeed, mon frere. And the next one is Bar Weep, Grana Weep, Nini Bong.
Yep, I don't even know what that is, other than some kind of bong, but yeah, I don't want to get into the other words. But anyway.
Do you know what it feels like? It feels like one of those things you put down as a pub quiz name that sounds rude when it's read aloud. Like, you know, like whale oil beef hooked. Well, oil be fucked. Right?
Fair. Yeah, or everybody's favourite MP, Mike, with the last name Hunt.
Yes, Mike Hunt.
Fuck's sake, I was trying to get past the censorship barriers, Karl. But anyway, the next person we have to shout out is Kicking Bucket with a little bucket emoji afterwards.
I guess that's how you pronounce the emoji. You just describe what you see. Right, we're playing catchphrase
so.
now. Just say what you see. A bucket emoji. You win £5.
No, because Karl, if it was catchphrase, it'd be like, you absolute fool. It's singing in the rain. It's yeah, of course.
Yeah. Snake Charmer.
Oh god, that's the best one.
It'll never be topped.
Yeah.
It will never be topped.
5 seconds. Here we go.
Sean, you're gonna have to speak or we'll run out of time.
I have no idea, sorry.
You've no idea, you don't.
And next we have Lucille Distill, which is such a powerful sounding name. It makes my name sound like crap, right? We've got Smallwood Distill.
Yeah, it reminds me of just like I don't know why I haven't made the connection yet, but I wonder if it's a One Piece reference because there's like the kind of the law of D, as they say, or I think it's like the law of D or the will of D. It's the will of D, right? But Karl knows a lot about the will of D.
No, I know Lord of D.
Oh yeah, the Lord of D, of course.
Do you remember like that one time we were all drunk on group chat, just sending in Yu-Gi-Oh cards that could be a stand-in for the name for your penis, and I just like won with Lord of D. But then our mate sent in just like Lord of Legendary D.
I definitely do not acknowledge that this ever happened and have no memory of it. But the next person to shout out, Karl, is where the lack of language comes into it, because we are supported by the lovely Bee of Awesome, and then insert... Because I got told to interpretive dance a hive of bees.
I'm waiting for someone to be like, okay, and now just read out the entire Bible. And it's like, well, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
The only thing I can think of when I think of a hive of bees is playing Zelda Breath of the Wild or like Metal Gear Solid 3 and like shoot down the beehive and the bees just attack. No.
All I think is just that one episode of The Simpsons where Apu thinks he's a hummingbird and goes... Which is similar, right? Hummingbirds like only a little bit bigger than a bee. But next we shout out Lam de Llama.
Of course, I always have to just shout out the llama face. That's the thing. It's just I can't get around just the Emperor's New Groove. Like it's the top tier of llamas.
It is. Except for, like, you know, llamas with hats, which I got to shout out, because it's like, Karl. You know what? Funny every time.
Is it? Is it?
No.
Karl, that kills people!
And then next we have to shout out Little Ghost, who has got little ghost emojis either side of the name, which just, of course, reminds me of, like, the Gotenks attack where they blow out all the little Gotenks ghosts, right?
Is it ever established how Gotenks does that?
You know what?
Does anyone else in Dragon Ball have the ability to create an energy attack that has sentience?
Yes, I believe they all do, but Gotenks is the only one who's a child and willing to use their imagination with their ki.
That's me!
Okay, because I know, like, Goku can, like, steer his ki and Krillin can steer his ki with, like, the spread shot, but why does Gotenks' like, energy blasts talk?
Yeah,
right?
like,
that seems like a super broken ability that no one else uses.
Summoning many ghosts that can literally shit all their opponent.
Yeah, like Super Ghost Kamikaze attack. And speaking of which, you got a favourite, like, Dragon Ball attack name? Because I don't think anything ever tops Hellzone Grenade, does it?
Oh yeah, Hellzone Grenade is maybe just the one.
Or Light Grenade, just because the way that Chris Sabat says Light Grenade, as if his life fucking depends on it. It's like, Light Grenade! It's so good.
And speaking of Scream, Karl, we have to give a special shout out to our next patron, Split Scream.
You know what, Lucas? Let's go. Favourite example of Scream acting from a video game?
I mean, I can't not make it just the Night Trap Scream, which nearly got video games decimated.
It did indeed, yeah. But is that, like, your favourite one, or is that the one you think's most important?
I think a bit of both, because we've talked about it that many times, it's kind of now become one of my favourite.
Yes, and if people don't know, the basic story is that the lady I'm about to put a clip in of screams so realistically for what is otherwise a campy B-movie inspired video game that people legit thought it was a murder simulator and almost got video games killed. Impressive, right? That's a pretty good scream. And you know what, Lucas, to quote Metaton, screaming is against the rules. And if something is against the rules, you know, who'll come in and, like, shoot you in the head for breaking them? Judge Dredd.
Just zero mercy.
My favourite Judge Dredd moment in a comic is where a guy steps out into the road and Judge Dredd just hits him. It's like, fuck it. You got in the way, that's breaking the law. And then as the guy's, like, trying to crawl back to the sidewalk, Judge Dredd walks up and shoots in the back of the head and then sends a fine to his family because him dying in the gutter constitutes littering.
I thought you were going to say obstruction of justice, but littering's even harsher.
It reminds me of one of my favourite, like, moments in Borderlands 2 where you go to that town that, like, Handsome Jack runs.
Yes.
And you hear him over the tannoy giving, like, information about the town. And he says something along the lines of, like, the punishment for everything here is death, including littering. I should also let you know that complaining about the law is considered to be verbal littering.
Did you know littering an opportunity is punishable by death? If not, you also ought to know complaining about opportunities laws is considered verbal littering.
God, we need to do an episode of Handsome Jack at some point.
I mean, to be fair, they've got about as much freedom of speech as we do in the UK right now.
They do indeed, yes. Also, speaking of scream acting, Handsome Jack, Damien Clark, is also the voice of Cell.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, he is. Do you like for Cell Max, for, like, Dragon Ball Superhero, they brought him back into the studio and just made him scream for 20 minutes and sent him home?
I don't want to think about Cell Max, because that was just terrible. Awful part of that movie.
But thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all